Yes. Alrighty. What's up, everybody? It is I, your Tribal God of Extreme, Peter Joseph here, for video number 2. Video number 2, this time on Killer of Demons 669. And as always, thank you for watching. Make sure you like the video and subscribe right now. Do it now. Do it now. And that's that. Alright, no big fancy intro this time. Because we've got Tna Impact Wrestling coming up. In a little bit. So we got that. Alright, so we're going to do something a little bit different here. I don't know if we're going to get it to about 3 minutes, but we'll see what happens with that. So I just want to give you last week's thoughts. You understand? Thoughts about last week's show. From the Pinnacle in Nashville, Tennessee. So this is last week was the first of a few tapings from Nashville, Tennessee. And that's going to take us, I think, until I think the next show, which I think is Rebellion, coming up at the end of March. We'll have to see what happens with that. Alright, we're done with No Surrender, and now we're on the road pretty much till what's next. And that's that. Alright, so Tom Phillips and Matthew Waywald in English on commentary from the Pinnacle in Nashville, Tennessee. Yep! And that's pretty much it. Alright, so we start off with an opening recap from No Surrender. Everything that happened. Ariana Grace becoming the new Knockouts Women's Champion. We had Trey Miguel become the new Intercontinental Champion. And we had all that. We move on. Alright, so we got the opening sequence. We're ready to begin. Alright, so we start off with Indy Hartwell taking on Heather by Elegance. Comes out with the rest of the Elegance brand, Ash, and M by Elegance, along with George the Iceman, the personal concierge, and Mr. Elegance, that dork. And so it was a pretty decent match. Eventually, Ash was on commentary. And the brand was getting involved. The referee, tosses all of them out, except for Ash, who had to stay at ringside. Then a top rope elbow to the back by Indy gets a near fall on Heather. Then she finishes her off with the Hertz Donut. That's a nice donut. Hits that. 1, 2, 3. Indy Hartwell gets the win in a little over 7 minutes. And that's pretty much it. And then after the match, there was nothing happening about that. Where we did see Mickie James, the Hall of Famer, at No Surrender, going after Ash by Elegance. We're going to see the lovely Mickie James on the program tonight, doing a face-to-face or something. So we're going to get some hardcore country! See some hot hardcore country in my pants later on, but that's another story for another time. When we move on with that. Alright, then we get a video from earlier in the day. Steve Macklin, who is technically fired, he's still trying to get back into TNA. He's like, feel like we're in the parking lot at a mall. That's where this place is, I think. Probably the mall somewhere. He's stopped by like 3 security guards, like they're gonna stop him from getting in the arena by Tom Hannafin, who comes out, and Macklin tells him, "Find a way to get me on the show next week." And Hannafin's like, "I'll see what I can do." And then eventually, near the end of the show, Tom Phillips says, "Well, we're gonna have Steve Macklin in a sit-down interview with him. Oh, that ain't gonna look good this week. I'll tell you that. Oh, we got that. Alright, then we got the TNA World Champion, Mike Santana. Comes out for the chat, right to the point, says if Steve Macklin keeps knocking on death's door, sooner or later, the Grim Reaper is going to answer. So, gets that out of the way. And he calls out Leon Slater, the X-Division champion. So he comes out. Santana welcomes him back because of the whole visa issue. And Santana kind of, he was a little bit worried that Leon would use option C and cash in on him at No Surrender. but Leon had his back, even though Santana had a deal with, Nick Nemeth and everybody, and Steve Macklin attacking him and shit like that. So they kind of, they apologizes. Leon thanks him. They shake hands. Mutual respect. And then the Nemeth brothers, Ryan and my big brother, who parked Issa's car perfectly, that's Nick Nemeth, they come out, talk some shit, and Nick says, Leon, you beat us by luck at No Surrender. Santana's like, no, it was all skill and talent. So they challenge the Nemeths for a tag team match. But then Sonya Deville comes out and says, no, what you going to do it next week? Get out of my ring. I don't like her as the so-called GM, but Director Authority, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Let me get that. Alright, then the system warns Moose to just move on because they dropped him for being dead weight. And, Eddie Edwards got his world title shot. And it looks like Bear Bronson and Brian Myers might be going for the tag titles. And then we'll see where Cedric goes after, maybe the X Division title. So we'll see what happens with that. Alright. Frankie Kazarian wants to be on commentary for the Nemeths versus Mike Santana and Leon Slater next week. Sonya Deville says, well, go ahead. So they might have a union. I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. Alright, then we get the rematch for the Intercontinental title with Trey Miguel defending against Stacks Mahomes with his lovely hot-ass fuck wife, the TNA Knockouts champion, Ariana Grace. Before the match, Ariana talks about how great things went at No Surrender, where she won the Knockouts title. Yes, her daddy, Santino Waletta, you son of a gun, got her the match. Yes, she played him like a fiddle. So, Trey brings out a customized bright green belt. Looks like the Olive Garden title, the 24/7 title. So we got that. Match-wise, wasn't that bad. But in the end, Trey Miguel, with the lightning spiral, almost spiral tap, basically. 1, 2, 3, retains the Intercontinental title in under 10 minutes. Match-wise, it was alright. Alright, then we hear from Grandpa Eric Young and his unseen fans ready to cleanse the place, starting with Leon Slater. Good for you. Try it. Go ahead and try. This cleanse needs to fucking stop. It is annoying. We've been talking about this since last year. Sad. I don't know. Alright, I gotta put on... Why did I... I gotta put on the Rich Man's cable. There we go. Alright, we got that. Alright, move on. So, yeah, EY and his cleanse needs to stop. Just call up Mr. Clean, and everything will be clean. Mr. Clean gets rid of dirt, We'll get it clean in just a minute, Eric. Come on. Call Mr. Clean. Maybe he'll clean your bald head. I don't know. Just kidding. Anyway, moving on. Alright, more Knockouts action with Tessa Blanchard comes out with Alicia Fox. And, who's the other chick? I can't think of her name. I was gonna say Gia Mill was not her. I forget. Anyway, they come out, and Tessa takes on Jody Threat. And basically, Jody wins by DQ after Jody grabbed the fireman's carry. Alicia Fox comes in for a big old and knocks her down. DQ at 444. Make a wish. And that's that. Afterwards, Tessa and company stay on Jody and her bad ribs until Harley Hudson and Mila Rose come in for the save. And guess what? We're going to get a 6-woman tag team match, playa. Most likely tonight. Let me move on. Speaking of tag team matches, playa, we got Brandon the Entertainer, BDE, and the man who goes all night long, all night, Rich Swann, take on the Sinner and the Saint. and they get destroyed as the Cinder of the Saint hit total elimination. That's that's Judas Icarus and the other guy, and Williams actually. They get the win, and that's pretty much it. And post-match respect, which is something you don't see every day. Sportsmanship, yay! Code of honor, you love to see it. Alright, we get that. Alright, so TNA has started, opens up with Steve Macklin talking to Tom Phillips about trying to get in the building, and then we find out later that Macklin will be in the building next week to talk to Tom Phillips, and it don't end well for Tom Phillips. And then we got the guitar case match, the guitar casket match between Elijah and Mustafa Ali. That was fucking barbaric. And Elijah won. You gotta get rid of pretty much everybody from Order 4. Agent Zero, Agent Zero, the Great Hands, and Tasha Steelz, and everybody. It was crazy. Match was crazy as shit. I forgot who helped him, but eventually Elijah gets the win, puts Mustafa Ali in a guitar casket, and we got that. Let me move on. Alright, Mance Warner, the Mancer, Mance Warner and his hot wife Stephanie DeLander swear vengeance on Flop Dollar, AJ Francis. They go into his locker room, they beat each other up, and then we got a match coming up this week. Should be hardcore, but it's not. We got that. Alright, we're going to start off this week's episode with Mike Santana coming from the bar. Of course, it's on a rinky-dink looking bar. That's where it is. What's the name of this garbage place? The Pinnacle in Nashville, Tennessee. It feels like a bar slash rinky-dink bar. It feels like almost. It's not even like Terminal 5 here in New York. It's smaller. This doesn't have the roof and all that shit. But it's like a rinky-dink little bar restaurant type thing. What are you gonna do? Alright, so we got all that. Alright, let's finish this thing up, baby. Alright, so we had Mance Warner and Flop Dollar are gonna beat the fuck out of each other this week. We'll see what happens with that. Alright, the Hardys are ready for the system. I'm gonna come in to interrupt them. And then the Righteous, and that's Vincent and Dutch, come in. The system leaves like little pussies. So they leave, and the Righteous say, we're still going to try to gain your trust, the Hardys' trust. And the Hardys are not even convinced. They still think there's something going on. With the Righteous, they're going to turn on them, and they don't think anything, nothing's right in the state of Denmark. It's not kosher, you know what I mean? Alright, I guess we're going to start with Mike Santana and Leon Slater taking on the Nemeth brothers. So Ryan and his big brother, Nick Nemeth, who parked Issa's car perfectly in Puerto Rico. So they're going to start the action. Because we don't need talk. We need more action. Like my ex-girlfriend Ashley Marie would say, a little less talk, a lot more action. My show. And on TNA too. And that's that. Alright. Moving on with that. Alright. Corey Jade comes out, Elena Black, not happy with Mara Sade, Miss Jackson if you're nasty, for eliminating her in the number 1 contenders battle royal at No Surrender. Wants to know why. She's like, what's up with that? So, Mara Sade, looking good, comes out to the stage, says, we both came from the same place, meaning NXT, and now we're in the same place again. But Elena Black says that, tells Mara Sade, you've been handed everything before, right? And Mara Sade says, you hate me for being a go-getter. So they challenge each other for a match. I think it's going to happen this week. So see what happens with that. And we move on. Alright, then we get what's coming next week, including an interview with Steve Macklin. Like I said, Tom Phillips, it ain't gonna end well for you. And that's that. And we move on. Alright, then we get to the guitar case casket match between Elijah and Mustafa Ali. It was crazy as shit, as the great man up there, you sir, Jay Briscoe. Reach for the sky, boy. He would love this match. It was crazy as shit. Tasha Steelz comes in, gets hit in the back with a guitar. Ugh. And even Mustafa Ali got hit in the face with a guitar. He got hit with it so hard, it looked like the strings like cut him wide open almost. Exploded. Elijah hits Highwayman's Farewell. Or at least it goes. Yeah, he hits that, and then Ali hits a low blow. He loads up the casket, which had a door laid over it, over the hole. There was a hole in it. You could tell there was a hole because there was a camera in it. Goes for a 450 through the door into the casket. Missed. Elijah hit him in the head with the guitar. Like I said, that guitar exploded. And then chokeslam through the door. He closes the casket. That's how you win. It feels like The Undertaker all over again, you know? So, he gets the win in just under 12 minutes. I hope this feud is over. But we'll see what happens this week on the program. Frankie Kazarian's on commentary now. Just came out. And we move on with that. And that's it for your quickie Tna Impact wrestling results from last week. So we get that. Alright guys, I'm going to go watch this week's episode of TNA. Speaking of Ring of Honor, we will scrap last week's episode. We'll talk about it a little bit tomorrow on the program. So we'll do a mini review and a full review for this week's episode of Ring of Honor. We'll talk about that tomorrow afternoon. And then we'll talk about, after TNA goes off the air, we'll talk about Raw, and we'll talk about Dynamite. We'll talk about Dynamite first, and then maybe get to Raw before we hit the bed tonight. And that's that. Because I will be incommunicado tomorrow night. I will be back on Saturday, though, to do my predictions for Elimination Chamber, talk about SmackDown as well, do the predictions for Elimination Chamber, and talk about the Chamber once it goes off the air tomorrow, Saturday night, And then Sunday, I will once again be incommunicado for a couple of days. So we'll talk about Collision. We'll take a couple of days off and then do Collision on Tuesday, because I should be back. I'm hoping to be back in Casa del Joseph Tuesday, so I can do Collision. Then I'll do Monday Night Raw, and then maybe NXT as we go into Wednesday, because I am very busy next Wednesday with appointments and a whole bunch of other shit. So I do have some personal things to take care of. So this weekend and into early next week, I'll be incommunicado. But I'll try to get something up for you guys tonight and maybe tomorrow afternoon before I do go out for the weekend. And really go out tomorrow night. But I'll be back Saturday once again with your SmackDown review right here on the Kill Demons channel. And also episode number 105, I believe, of the Shadow Slayer series CSL 105 with your Elimination Chamber predictions. And then we'll watch the pay-per-view together and we'll have fun. And that's all that matters. And didn't do the review late Saturday night. And that's it. Alright guys, enjoy TNA Impact's on the air right now. Should be a great show tonight, even though it's taped, but it's whatever. So, we're going to have fun watching it. And we'll talk about it maybe tomorrow. And we'll see what happens with that. Alright guys, until next time, check out my first video of the day, my Rock and Roll Hall of Shame 2026 nominees. That's on my Metal God channel, so check that out. I have a couple of other videos. I have a couple of shorts I put up on my Rant channel, on my Peter Joseph channel as well. So check those out. But check out my Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees video. Link will be down below in the gobbledygook. And that's that. And I will be back a little bit later, right? Once again on the channel with your Monday Night Raw review, and then maybe later back on my Peter Joseph channel with your Dynamite review. So 3, maybe 4 videos tonight. We'll see what happens. I had a long day, so a lot of videos coming anyway. So go to my channels and go to the videos or short section. Check out the latest videos. Give it a like, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment. But don't leave stupid comments. You get sent to the Shadow Realm and never be heard from again. And that's pretty much it. So I'm out of here. I'm gonna grab some my tasty dinner in a little bit, and I'm gonna watch the rest of Dynamite. And then, like I said, I'll be back for my Raw review and your Dynamite review, and that's it. Alright, but until next time, my friends, if you're not down with that, well, I got 3 words for you, motherfuckers. Fuck you, man! Fuck you, man, if you don't like that. Tough shit. And that's it. You don't like it? Don't watch. Well, you will, because you got nothing else better to watch. So, sucks. Sucks to be you, huh? But that is what it is. Alright, guys, thanks for watching. Until next time. Peace.